for my child. This is me being vulnerable and raw. It was the best thing I could do for my child. I was depressed. I was going through a tough phase in my life. So taking him to nursery so that hey guys, I'm here to speak about my childcare experience in the UK. By the time I was looking for childcare placements, there was not enough information online or whatsoever, or at least I was ignorant. But here I am. I'm here to narrate my journey, give a few insights, what worked for me, what didn't work for us, and maybe you could pick a leaf. Some information could be useful to someone else, especially as the immigrants in this country. So I quickly realized I needed to put my baby into childcare shortly after birth. That was my personal choice, so no judgment whatsoever. So I quickly realized I needed to do so, and firstly I looked for childminders. Yeah, you just have to type in Google childminders near me, or the website of your local authority where you stay. You type in registered childminders, and then there is a list. They are categorized according to who is nearest to you. So I contacted a few of them. I contacted like a few of them, like 50, and all of them were telling me, sorry, we are full, sorry, we are full, sorry, we are full, sorry, I'll put you on the waiting list and I'll contact you as soon as I have availability. So I dropped that. I went in for another choice of babysitters. I was not successful with that as well. First of all, they were very, very expensive. The money I was going to make on the job was the very money I was going to pay that person per day to stay with my child. That was very expensive. I dropped that. So thirdly, I went in for a daycare setting. So I went on my council's website and read through the Ofsted reports of the nurseries that were next to me or next to my job. You have to consider all that time. I looked at very many things. I looked at the time, the opening time of the nursery, the closing time of the nursery, whether they will be coordinated with my working time. So I found one which I really liked. I went and read their Ofsted report, and it was very excellent. So I called them immediately. I'm like, blah 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 blah, I have a baby who is X months old and I need a placement in your nursery. So the lady told me, oh, okay, congratulations, please send through the birth certificates and XXY documents. I sent them through quickly, thinking they were going to to say, can you start like next week? No, when I sent in the documentation, the lady told me, oh, that's really wonderful, thank you for that documentation, I'll put you on the waiting list. The waiting list is a bit extensive. Yeah, you're number 50, but once your number reaches, we will be in contact with you. So like I lost all the hope, and I went to my neighbor. Luckily, I had a neighbor who I walked this pregnancy journey with, because she was also pregnant at that time, and her baby was at a nursery X. So I text her. I was very disturbed. I text her and I'm like, what did you do to find your child a nursery? So she goes like, I applied when I was 6 months pregnant. Guys, imagine, she applied for nursery when she was 6 months pregnant, and she was given a placement when the baby was 4 months old. My jaw dropped. Like, that was a shock on me, because I thought as when the need arises, when I need the placement, just like that, I'm just going to apply and get it. No, they are waiting lists, and they are really very, very extensive. So whoever is considering to put their child in nursery, you have to consider the time factor. The waiting lists are very extensive. So that was the first thing that shocked me. So she gave me everything. and she told me, apply to this nursery where my baby is. I went online, I did my own research, I read the reviews, I read the Ofsted report. I was very satisfied, so I went on their website and read more about it, and everything, you know. I read their menu. Like, when I'm going to do something, especially when it comes to my child, I read. I have to be sure. So I was satisfied. I went online and saw that to join their waiting list, you had to pay a fee, which is non-refundable. I was like, it's little. I think like 32 pounds or 23 pounds, something like that. It's been a long time. I've forgotten that, but it's an affordable fee. I was like, "Ah, let me just pay this fee and join the waiting list as well. I just can't put all my eggs in one basket, because I was already registered at one nursery, but I needed a second one to be safe. So I applied at that nursery where my neighbor's child was. Guys, after after paying the fee, I joined the waiting list. Guys, I could refresh my email every day of my life. I could, yeah guys, so I could refresh my email on every minute of that day. Like, maybe the nursery have sent through that your number X, or there is a placement for you. Guys, I refreshed my email. Imagine I applied for that nursery when my baby was 2 months old. Finally, when my baby had just made 1 year and 1 week, I received that email. Guys, I screamed, I panicked, I was overjoyed. So the nursery sent to me, congratulations, yeah, there is a placement for you. There are X amount of days available. They offered me 4 days, but personally I wanted 2 days initially. So I told them I want only 2 days. So I chose the days which I preferred, and then we went with that. We filled in documentations. It was a lot of paperwork. That I assure you, it was a lot of paperwork. So after filling in everything, I've made the payments. Like, you have to pay the initial payment. Then it hit me, like, okay, that stress had gone away, but then it hit me. How is my baby going to feel? Will he manage nursery? A lot of questions came to my head. Will he be treated right? I had a lot of questions ran through my head. Is he ready for nursery? What will happen? Basically, I had anxiety around it. So a day came. Remember, here in England, you just can't take your baby to the nursery at once. There are a couple of settling visits. They call them settling visits, for the child to get used to the nursery environment. For my baby, I took him, the first day I took him for 1 hour. The second day I took him for 3 hours. Of course, the first day I spent that 1 hour with him when he was looking at other children, touching the toys, getting used to the environment. The second day I gave him in for 3 hours, and then I had to pick him. The third day, that's how they adjust for like a week and some days, depending on how your baby is coping. And then they tell you, okay, now you can bring him full 8 hours if you want. That was my preference, by the way. You're free to drop your baby at 9 and pick him up anytime you want. That is your personal preference. But me, remember, I had a 9 to 5. I have a 9 to 5, so I was preferring the long hours. So yeah, on that first settling visit, guys, when they said, guys, on that first settling visit, when they told me you can ask questions, guys, that is your opportunity, you as a mother, to calm your anxiety. I asked them, do I need to bring my nappies? If the baby has any allergies to other types of nappies, they said yes. If the baby maybe is on medication, a specific type of medication, do you have anyone who is trained on medication to give it to them? They said yes. I asked for the menu. I asked, guys, I asked a lot of questions. I wanted to make sure my baby is in a safe environment, and that calmed my anxiety a little bit. So remember that first settling visit, you come, you go with your baby and be with them for that one full hour. Remember, you're seeing how other kids are being treated. I was satisfied with that whatsoever. I was satisfied because I was seeing how other babies are treated, and I was really happy. And remember, your baby is allocated a key worker. That key worker takes you through the nursery, the paperwork, the documentation, and they are responsible to take care of your child. When you pick your child, when you drop your child in the morning, you hand them over to that key worker and tell them all about their night. He slept the whole night, or he didn't sleep well. He's feeling a bit, you know. You explain to them so that they know. They know if he's maybe fussy. They know probably he didn't sleep, he's sleepy. And when you come in the evening or whatever time to pick your child, it is that person who gives you handover. It is like you, the mother, hands over your baby in the morning, and you give the notes of how his night was and how he's feeling. And then when you pick him, that key person also gives you how he spent his day, how he ate, you know, how many wet nappies. If you want to know everything, they tell it to you. How he's behaving towards other kids, how is his development, which areas do you need to change. Ooh. So guys, the very first day I left my baby at nursery for 3 hours, I've never been, I had mixed feelings. I questioned my integrity, like, is it worth it? Why am I leaving my baby in a nursery, like with strangers? He was I'm not being racist, but he was the only black child in the nursery at that time, and I was so scared for him. Will he adjust? Will he get used to that environment? So guys, shockingly, I went back home. I don't know how I was feeling, but it was a bit of everything, mixed emotions. Like, I cried a bit. I cried, but you know, I had to be strong, and you know, it's the process, it's life. I cried a bit, and I was like, I can't believe I've left my baby in the nursery. But remember, for a full year plus, I'm having that exhaustion of having to take care of a child, waking up in the night, taking care of the child during the day. So I remember coming back, looking at the house and everything that needs to be done, and I said, no, I'm not doing anything. My baby is at nursery for 3 hours. I'm gonna lie on the sofa, get that remote, and put on Netflix. Guys, I got the remote and napped. While I was napping, I woke up like after like 20 minutes, and I said, oh my god, where is Sean? Where is Sean? Where is my baby? Guys, I almost got a panic attack, until I told myself, oh, Sean is at nursery. Guys, that was really funny. I spent those 3 hours like doing a few things, but I could, oh, where is Sean? Where is my child? Like, abane bulaya babedanga handbag. Literally, your child is like a handbag. Yeah? You know, I was not used to that life of not having my child around me. It was emotionally draining, and I couldn't, you know. So I picked him up. Actually, he didn't want to leave the place, and that gave me a bit of confidence, and it calmed down my anxiety, because I was like, if my baby doesn't want to leave this place, and you know, he doesn't want to go home, he must be happy. He must love the social environment. He must love his friends. Because remember, my neighbor's child was in that nursery, and he really settled in very well because he knew him. They would do play dates. They would play outside together and so on. So he really loved that place. That gave me energy. Guys, shortly after all that, we went into a long spell of sicknesses. I mean, flu, colds, diarrhea bags, vomiting bags, all those things from the nursery. I was emotionally drained. I didn't know how to feel about everything. I remember going to the GP, my baby's GP, and telling her, I don't know if I made the right decision because my child is always sick. If he's not having cough, he's having flu. If he's not having any of that, he's... So I told the GP about my worries and my anxiety. The GP told me it's a good thing because even when they start compulsory school, they'll have to go through that spell. So I think it is good for his immunity right now, and soon he will get used to all that. His body will get used. And remember, we are in the UK where they give no medication for flu. So I would sit in the night and watch my child go through all that. Go through his nose being blocked, crying, coughing, or diarrhea. And remember, when your baby is sick, it impacts you emotionally and even physically because you're not having that rest as a mother. You're constantly up taking care of your child. So uh, 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 and then he missed most of the days. He would be sick, and I was like, I'm not taking my baby. Even when he was healed, I was emotionally drained to take him to school because I was like, what's the point of me taking him to the nursery and he comes back with another cold or flu or even a diarrhea bag at worst. So I kept him off nursery most of the first 6 months. One, because he was sick, but sometimes, least times, because I was afraid he's going to come back with another cold or flu. So I would say we got a grip of this nursery thing after 8 months. That's when I was comfortable. I mean comfortable to leaving my child. I was happy with everything that was taking place. My baby was happy. Everyone was happy at that point. And I think at that point, his immunity had a little bit got used to the nursery environment. Yeah, though health-wise, when there is a bug and you're at work and then you read that email from the nursery, oh dear parents, there is a diarrhea bug at the nursery, guys, my heart goes like, no, I can't do this. Oh, there is a, what are they called, smallpox at the nursery. There is a case of smallpox. There is a case of whooping cough at the nursery. There is a what? So nurseries are really good and they keep our children, but you have to be emotionally and mentally ready for the outcomes of putting your child in the nursery. Either way, guys, in conclusion, I want to tell the parents, new parents who don't know this already, if you've given birth and you're considering childcare, or you have X amount of time to get back to work, please start looking for nurseries as soon as. Actually, one of my white friends told me, in England, as soon as you find out you're pregnant, you start looking for nursery. I laughed about it because, I learned the hard way, because I was telling her this whole story of how I struggled to find a nursery last minute. And she was like, in England, the moment you discover you're pregnant, you have to start looking for nursery. So another thing is, don't just take your child to any nursery. Take your time, check for the nurseries around you, choose which of them is nearest to you, read about their Ofsted report, read about other parents' reviews on Google reviews. Do not just do not just take your baby to nursery X because someone said it's really good. No, go on your council's website, read their Ofsted report, understand them, understand their values, what they stand for, read their reviews. 2, when you go in for the visit, don't just keep quiet. Ask as many questions as you can to the nursery, to the manager, to the baby's key worker, to your child's key worker. They are happy to tell you. That calms your anxiety a little bit about leaving your child to the in hands of another person. 3, be mentally ready, because your baby has been in your care for the past, I don't know how long, and you keep the environment is only the two of you, but he's going to go mix with other kids with flu, with colds. So expect your baby to get a little bit ill from colds, flus, diarrhea, etc., to mention but a few. Yeah. Also, should I say it or not, guys? Also, there is a lot of help of regarding childcare costs in England. You just have to have a read or online and then see what is comfortable for you or what fits your situation and circumstances. Yeah, the councils pay for some children's childcare, universal credit. Then there is, guys, if you ask me right now, would I have changed anything back then? No. First of all, at that point, it was the best thing I could do for my child. This is me being vulnerable and raw. It was the best thing I could do for my child. I was depressed. I was going through a tough phase in my life. So taking him to nursery so that so that so that he could socialize and play with other kids, because I was depressed. I was literally depressed with him in the house, and I would not really have the energy to take him to that park or play groups or anything. So it gave me that satisfaction that I made that move, that my baby can go to socialize with other kids. They are helpers. It's educational. He's being taught on a daily and everything. Secondly, it helped me mentally. It helped me figure my life mentally. It freed up that space. I realized I was not being selfish. I was seeking help, because I can only mother when I'm mentally healthy. So that gave me time to seek for mental health support at that point. The days I would drop my baby at nursery, I'd go in and receive the help and the support I needed. So we were both happy. So mothers, taking your child at nursery, it's not being selfish, especially in the UK where we have limited or literally no help at all. You're not being selfish. You just need a bit of time to yourself so that you can parent even better. We are humans at the end of the day. We need also space to figure out our lives. Imagine being with your child 24/7, a full year. You can't do anything without them, because literally, unless when you have a good support network here, friends who you can leave your baby with. But if you don't, the only option is nursery. Even if you're not going to work, you have just drop your baby at nursery, even if for 2 hours, and see how it feels. I got used to it and it felt amazing that I could go for massage. I could go and do my nails. I could go and do my hair without a baby. I could go and do the shopping without a child. I could finally go and do the things I loved before birth, because it's hard when you have a child.